Salutations, ladies and gentlemen and people of the tube. My name is ForceOfWill, and welcome to WWFree Raw is Wrong for the 26th of October, 2015. So the show of Raw opens with, surprise, surprise, the Authority. Triple H walking down like he is the embodiment of everything Vince McMahon wanted to be, but never could because he was never big enough. And Stephanie was wearing a very bizarre outfit that made her look like a schoolgirl. A rather old schoolgirl, don't get me wrong, but a schoolgirl in like a weird, cheap 90s horror film. It was very, very bizarre. And they commence with the whole bigging up Seth Rollins to be the man. Now, I'm sorry, Seth Rollins is not the fucking man. This is the man. They have the whole 10-minute bullshit conversation in the middle of the ring, and I hate this at the start of Raw. Every week it's like this. Somebody comes out and waffles shit for 10 minutes. I didn't tune into Raw to watch people talk shit. I tuned into Raw to watch a wrestling show. With the conversation that they were having in the ring, it was sort of like, yeah, you're the man, Seth, but you're not as good as Triple H. And I am dreading them, absolutely fucking dreading them, building Triple H versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, because I don't want to see that match. I don't think that match is interesting. I don't want to see Triple H wrestling. He's a great figurehead for hatred. But every time he steps into the ring, he wins. And, I mean, everybody knows that he hates putting people over. The most cringe-worthy line of the entire thing was, "We're so proud of you." You know, and all I could see was, "Mummy and Daddy are proud of you, Seth." It was just bullshit. When they were talking about them setting up the number one contenders tournament later on in the show, which, by the way, I loved the idea of. The idea of some of the matches were. They build up people having to face, having to earn the right to face Seth Rollins. And as Triple H is reeling off who's going to be in this tournament, Seth Rollins' face is dropping. And they are still casting him as the Weasel. Yeah, he's the heel champion. I said this in the last video. But he doesn't need to be so bloody weak. He's supposed to be the man. And you're evidently building him to face fucking Triple H at next year's Mania. Make him look strong. Don't make him look like a fucking pansy. It's ridiculous. Roman Reigns comes down to interrupt this fucking Authority arse-licking appreciation society. His pacing during his promo was all off. He needs to slow his promos down. Give the audience a chance to react to what he's saying. Like I say, I really do like the idea of a number one contenders tournament. It makes things a little more interesting. And straight away, we get to the first match on the card. Roman Reigns versus Kofi Kingston. There was still no Woods at Raw tonight because he's still injured. So I thought I was going to get away with not having to think about the fucking unicorns. But no. Between unicorns, on fleek, and fucking booty, I hate the New Day. I fucking hate them. They are like a cheesy 90s heel. And I think we've evolved beyond that as wrestling fans. I understand that they are getting genuine heat, but that's not because they're good at being heels. That's because they are genuinely fucking irritating. The other thing that really annoyed me about their promo was Kofi's awful, awful Harry Potter references. You might as well call me Harry Potter because I'm about to make some fucking magic. No, you're a crazy mid-card shitheel with bunches. Come back when your hairstyle isn't booty. So the match kicks off, and then Kofi's doing his flying about thing. Kofi caught Roman Reigns very early on, full in the face with one of his feet. That was a little messy, but then again, I enjoy watching Roman Reigns getting kicked in the face. The big problem with this match, and it's my big problem with most Raws, is the mid-match break.
This episode of WWFree has been brought to you by the concept of whining.
See, it makes no fucking sense to have an advert in the middle of a fucking sentence, does it? No, it doesn't. Stop it, WWE. Pace your matches properly so that they fit into the time slot allowed to them. Anyway, Reigns responds to being kicked in the face early on in the match with one of the most vicious clotheslines I've ever seen. Now, I love the clothesline as a move. If it's done well, it really looks like somebody's been fucking knocked out. And Kofi sold the shit out of this clothesline. It was phenomenal. And then we get Big E interfering in the match. Because Woods isn't there, somebody has to be the annoying muppet by ringside. Then we get to, 2.5 minutes of fucking rest holds. It was not fun to watch, but I understand that after the match that Roman Reigns went through last night, he was probably well fucked. And he wrestles twice tonight, as do every winner of each of the matches. Kofi Kingston's top rope axe handle, that was pretty good because he got fucking hyped on that shit. The disappointment from that is he came down straight into another rest hold. It's not fun to watch. Awesome sequence of reversals and counter reversals between Kofi Kingston and Roman Reigns. They had great pacing in this section of the match. Reigns takes him down, and it looks like he's going for a roll-up pin, and he gets the 2 count and powers Kofi up into a sit-out powerbomb. That looked fucking phenomenal, and that, to me, should have been the end of this match because that move looked so fucking good. He should have got the 3 count there. That was fine. But no, Kofi kicks out at 2. Big E is back once again, back up on the apron, giving it loads. So gets to eat a Superman punch for his troubles. Deserved it. Kofi goes for the Trouble in Paradise. Reigns ducks under, bounces off the opposite rope, hits that shitty looking spear. 1, 2, 3. Reigns progresses to the fatal 4-way match for the number 1 contendership at the end of the show. Like I say, this match would have been great if the finish had been that power-up, sit-out powerbomb, and if there'd been no mid-match break. All in all, not a bad match, but not a fucking barn burner. Then we cut to a small segment, which is, again, picked up later on, with The Miz playing the 2K16 game. Okay, we get it, WWE. You've got a 2K16 game. You've got a new computer game coming out. Great. You don't need to tell us every 30 seconds. And the segment later on with The Miz backstage where him and Stone Cold Steve Austin are interacting. Every fan out there, I'm probably generalising a little bit there, but I think I speak for most fans when I say, why the fuck did Austin not stun him? That's golden TV right there. The Miz, who is one of the mouthiest sons of bitches in that fucking locker room, and one of the most hated men in WWE, with the icon, the hero, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he doesn't flip him the bird, kick that cunt in the groin, and stun that shit into next week. You make us sit and listen to Miz while harping on about your fucking computer game? and you don't let Austin stun his ass? Travesty. My match of the night. Owens versus Cesaro. Now, Owens cut a little heel promo at the start of this match during the entrances, and that was one of the best things I've seen on Raw in a very, very long time. My greatest career moment hasn't come yet. My greatest career moment is when I stand here with the IC and the World Heavyweight title. Perfect. That is how you make him look like a legitimate badass. Which kind of falls apart later on in this match. The match opens with Owens going for a very, very quick pin, and as he pulls away from Cesaro, he's like, this close, it was this close, and he dives out of the ring and goes to give Michael Cole shit. Now, every time he's done this before I actually looked into it, I was like, why has he got such a problem with Cole? And it comes from a legitimate gripe that Kevin Owens has, or Kevin Steen has, with Michael Cole's commentary. He says he's biased, he spends too long harping on about the sponsors and shit that WWE are trying to sell, instead of actually being the play-by-play guy, which is what he used to be. It's a very sad day in WWE commentary, where Michael Cole is the best commentator at the table. It's why I really don't think they should have moved King off. Now, I understand it's probably because King's getting on and his health isn't too great. They need something more than boring as piss Byron Saxton and that fucking idiot JBL. I hate this guy. I hate his commentary. I hate everything that comes out of his stupid face. Like, if there is one guarantee every week within the first 2 minutes of Raw, I will have this expression on my face. And without fail, that is always because of JBL's shitty commentary. Oh, he's so fun to watch, isn't he, Michael? Just all that, oh, God. He makes me cringe. He makes my soul hurt. He makes me want to beat nuns with baseball bats. Cesaro and Owens, two of probably the most talented performers in WWE right now. Cesaro has been given minimal pushes, and the pushes he has been given were like with Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter. Those gimmicks didn't work for him, and he's got himself over with the whole Cesaro section and him being so fucking phenomenal in the ring. I would love, later on down the line, maybe a year and a half from now, have Kevin Owens as the heel champion and have Antonio Cesaro, and by the way, yeah, give him back his first name. I hate this single name thing. They do it to Neville as well. Like, is he not good enough for a first name? Later down the line, I would love to see Cesaro, Owens, main event. Those guys could sell out Madison Square Gardens, no problem. While Owens is busy giving shit to Michael Cole at ringside, Cesaro comes running around the side, and the pair of them collide, double clothesline, out on the mats. And I was sat there going, no, don't ruin how good this match can be by having a double count out like 3-4 minutes into the match. But they both beat the count at 9. They both beat it back into the ring. It was a good moment. What I think is one of the most fucking amazing sequences to watch when it's done right. And it was done right here. Cesaro's uppercut express from corner to corner to corner to corner, just uppercutting the living shit out of Owens. And Owens is down. He's had the shit beaten out of him. And the bit I loved the most about this uppercut express is towards the end of it, he bounces Owens off the ropes and ends the uppercut express with a drop kick square to the face. It looked amazing. These guys are by far the best thing on Raw tonight, and quite often the best thing on Raw in general. At this point, Owens does the cowardly heel thing, which we're getting far too much of from bloody Seth Rollins, and he tries to dive out of the ring and is like, no, fuck this, I'm off, I'm done. Which, by the way, is not how you need to be booking this guy. Cesaro's having none of this. Does a running uppercut, and as Owens bounces off the ringside barrier, Cesaro goes straight over him, lands on his feet with his arm in the air, and it looked amazing. It's not the only amazing thing that Mr. Cesaro does during this match. Owens goes for a backslide, Cesaro reverses it, lands on his feet, and walks straight into a spike DDT. Again, it looked phenomenal. At this point, the crowd is chanting, "This is awesome." And for once, I have to agree with them. This was awesome. And then everything goes to shit. The springboard, flying, spinning uppercut of death. Wow, is all I can say about this move. There's a joke going around that says that when John Cena goes for the springboard stunner, the actual move should be called the springboard stunner. Ooh, I don't think he got all of that. Cesaro showed here how a springboard move is supposed to be done. And he hits him fucking square. Sort of, it's supposed to be on the chin, but obviously it's wrestling. So he hits him square underneath the chin. And it just looked fucking amazing. And then we get to what I refer to as the clusterfuck end of this match. You have Owens repeating what he did at Hell in a Cell against Ryboch, ducking in and out of the ropes and using that as an advantage to get his pop-up powerbomb in. I don't mind the pop-up powerbomb as a finisher. I do mind what he did just prior to that. I don't like Kevin Owens being the cowardly heel. He should be the monster heel because we don't have one at the moment. And then we get to the PCB backstage shit, which is more bitches be crazy. I'm not a fan of it. I think the idea of there being a Divas Revolution at this point is a really, really bad joke made in extremely poor taste because the writing staff do not know how to write women. The third match on the card, which is the Divas match, Team PCB versus Team Bella. So much for the Revolution. Paige goes for and Team Bella win. The booking in this show makes me feel a little bit Sarkeesian because, like I say, the writing team have no idea how to write a decent women's storyline. And it's either bitches are crazy because they're bitches, or bitches are crazy because they're lesbians. And that's the two storylines that you get. And that's it. Zeb Coulter coming out on his little mobility scooter, and Dented Nerd was saying how much he looks like my dad, which was kind of scary. That's a horrible, horrible thought. The Del Rio versus Adrian, because he does have a first name, WWE, Neville. Zeb comes out to accompany him, and there's this sickening fist bump on the ramp, which was, I literally had vomit in my throat. My favourite moment early on in this match was where Del Rio takes down Adrian Neville, has him in an armbar, and is repeatedly slap, 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 slap around his head. And it's just fucking great. I love the arrogance of Del Rio, even if I don't really like his work. There's a great lucha style sequence because, of course, Del Rio is known as El Patron, I think, down in Mexico, and that's the style that he wrestles there. And with Adrian Neville being such a great high flyer, he was really able to complement that style very well. The big disappointment about that great lucha sequence is it went into not a great move, but another mid-match break.
I am the Man!
You see how fucking irritating it is? He hits the backstabber. Lots and lots of rest holds following that. There's a great over-the-top dive by Adrian Neville. That was awesome. Evil leg scissor takeover botch. I think it was Neville delivering the leg scissors takeover to Del Rio, and he dropped Del Rio on the top of his head. Beautiful running leg slap enziguri on the top rope that takes Neville clean off the turnbuckles. Only a 2 count. The cross arm breaker attempt. Again, I'm still shocked that the WWE Universe remembers the C chant. I think it's great. Of course, Adrian Neville avoids the cross arm breaker and gets taken out by a clothesline that spins him through the air. Turns him inside out. Beautiful. Utterly beautiful. The evil spine stomp while Adrian Neville is draped over the bottom rope. And then Adrian Neville going to attack Del Rio on the outside. Del Rio manages to trap him in a sort of, I think it's called the Tree of Woe on some of the computer games. But he basically hangs him up on the turnbuckle and delivers that vicious double stomp down into the chest. Now, I heard from a friend of mine that he used to use that on, like, in the lucha places and on the indie circuit. I think that's a far, far better looking move than the kneeling sweet chin music that he's been using. All in all, it was a relatively good match. Most entertaining moment of that match was the new flag that Zeb Coulter is bringing around, because he's not racist. Honestly, please, WWE Universe, forget that I'm racist. Then we get to the 6-man match, and this whole thing just screams we haven't got anything for these guys. The Dudleys are the Dudleys, and for some reason Royd Botch is tagging with them. Like, there's no reason for these guys to be fighting whatsoever. There's no storyline. It's just, we need some space filled, and we need the Dudleys to do the Dudleys thing. I know, we'll have a 6-man tag. It's very poor writing, and it's indicative of the major problem with Raw, which is Raw is just too long. That's why they have so many mid-match breaks. That's why every sort of half hour to an hour, Cole is literally rerunning everything that has just happened, because something that somebody else was watching has just finished. And it just feels like a chore to get through Monday Night Raw. Like, I had, what, it was a 4 cup of coffee Raw, this one, because some parts of it were so slow and so shittily written. The Dudleys, Royd Botch, Sheamus, Barrett, and Rusev. This match was a clusterfuck from bell to bell. Sheamus dominating, because that's what Sheamus does, but he's not interesting. Rusev is boring to watch. He's got no personality outside of the bizarre love triangle shite storyline that he's been involved in with like Summer Rae, Dolph Ziggler, and fucking Lana. Little tip, WWE, when the most interesting thing about one of your wrestlers is a shitty storyline that is centric to other people, go back to the drawing board, reintroduce the guy as somebody else. Okay? Devon was in this match for a very long time. They I suppose they did a good job of isolating him, if nothing else. That we had a very strange triple meat hook that didn't look particularly great. That was followed very shortly by the Wass Up, and I said this last time, it's a fucking low blow. Get the tables. There's you know they get distracted by playing to the audience basically, and Barrett rolls Bubba Ray up for the 3 count. Meh. I could not have cared less about the outcome of this match. There was no stakes whatsoever. There was nothing to bring you in. It was just 6 guys going about a ring. The Wyatt segment. Oh, wow. I adore Bray Wyatt. I have no idea what he's talking about majority of the time, but I don't care. He's the perfect mix of deliverance, the hills have eyes, the ultimate warrior, and that crazy uncle that you have that did far too much acid in the 70s. He's spouting off in the ring about how he's gonna, feed on the Undertaker's soul and all of this shit. And predictable, yes, Demon Kane comes out. By the time Demon Kane gets to the ring, the lights go out, lights come back on, the Wyatts are there, and Kane is holding his own relatively well early on, and then the 4 of them just beat the shit out of him. And they carry him off crucifix style, the same way they did to the Undertaker. But yeah, that was a really entertaining segment. I love the fact that Bray Wyatt, and I said this before, that he doesn't just play a character, he lives that gimmick. He believes all of this crazy fucking Jim Jones-esque rambling shit that is coming out of his mouth. It's phenomenal. Like, that character could be 1,000 times more goofy if you could see on his face that he didn't believe the things he was saying. But there is a real life edge and a believability to him that a lot of the other stars in WWE are severely lacking. So yeah, in short, Bray Wyatt is a shiny golden god. Early on in this match, the most important thing appears to be the fact that Summer Rae is at ringside with Tyler Breeze. Now, I know Tyler Breeze has been a very big hit in NXT, but I don't think this is the way they should have introduced him, because Summer Rae is a third-rate diva at best, and to my knowledge doesn't have that great a fan base. And to take somebody that does have a great fan base like Tyler Breeze and stick him with an albatross like Summer Rae, I don't like that move. This match, again, was boring. Like, Big E's great at power moves, but he's not interesting to watch unless he's surrounded by the rest of the New Day, and then they're not interesting to watch, they're irritating to watch. Everything was wrong with this match. Dolph Ziggler is a very good performer, but doesn't have that much personality. There was a point during this match where they fucked up the Famouser. There was the mean power bomb that Big E did on Ziggler. That was evil. Ziggler launched into the ring post, which is then repeated later on in the match when Big E's launched into it and goes splat outside. The thing that really annoys me is, and Dolph Ziggler is the #1 fucking culprit for this, stars throwing around the super kick, the sweet chin music, like it's a headlock, like it's a drop kick, like it's a fucking clothesline. Have more respect for the classics, people. This is Shawn Michaels' finish. This is his finishing move. This is the move he made famous. And you guys throw it away like it's nothing. People get super kicked and then instantly are up to their feet or instantly kick out. It makes what is supposed to be one of the most classic moves and most devastating maneuvers in the whole of WWE into nothing more than a fucking rest hold. And it really upsets me. Big E interposed, as I said. Zigzag. Yeah, the zigzag. The name for that move sucks. Dolph Ziggler wins 1, 2, 3. What can I say? I tend to give matches kind of sort of jokey or amusing or just single word scores on my notes. And this match was indeed, in the words of the New Day, booty. At this point, I'm not going to give WWE and Susan G. Komen the airtime during this video for their campaign, because I, unlike Vince McMahon and Susan G. Komen, don't profit from cancer. So we get to the main event, and it's the Fatal 4-Way. In one corner, we have Kevin Owens. In another, we have Roman Reigns. In another, we have Dolph Ziggler, who's just performed. And in the final corner, we have Alberto Del Rio. Now, this match was pretty fucking good. It wasn't quite what I was hoping for at the end of Raw, but it was a damn good conclusion to a miniature tournament that felt very, very reminiscent of, late 90s, early 2000s format for Raw. The only thing I have a major problem with during this match is Seth Rollins on commentary, because he sucks at it. He's somewhere in the gulf of suckage between JBL and Michael Cole. He's nowhere near as bad as Booker T, but he's somewhere in that gulf of suckage between the two of them. Roman looked fucked. When he was coming down through the crowd, he was like, knackered, mate. I can give him all the credit in the world, because that guy had 3 phenomenal matches in the space of 24 hours. I'll give him props where props are due there. That was fucking impressive. So we get to the match, and initially Kevin Owens is destroying people, just left, right, and centre. Just awesomeness. The great team up between Owens and Del Rio, which is kind of a running theme for this match. Awesome. The two slimy heels working together, but always giving that moment of, yeah, this isn't going to last very long. The first opportunity I get, you're getting fucked in the arse, mate. It's great. They double team Reigns, and then Roman makes his little comeback, and he clears house, manages to fuck up the Samoan drop, which I found kind of ironic. Dolph Ziggler ended up landing on his face and spinning out of it. It didn't look very good. The drive-by on Owens, and then he goes right round the other side of the ring, and he follows that up with a drive-by on the announce desk. And as he comes past Seth Rollins on the announce desk, there's just this little wave. That made me chuckle. That was really well done. Super kick by Ziggler, and then another mid-match fucking 2K16 advert. Yes, we get it. You've got an advert. You've got something to sell us, and you want to ram it down our throats. Thank you very much, creative. Then we get to the vicious, vicious kicks to Roman Reigns by Del Rio. And I always cringe when I see Del Rio throw a kick, because I know how awful he is at actually pulling the kick just before it hits somebody, despite his thigh slap every time he throws a kick. I always cringe. Owens and Del Rio teaming up again, and then Del Rio goes for the cover. Owens is like, what the fuck? Okay, we'll just, and then just starts laying into Del Rio. Fucking awesome. Del Rio fights out of it. There's a kneeling super kick to Owens. Owens rolls out of the ring. There's this super slap to Del Rio, which sends him over the top rope, which I thought was a little pantomime, but that was awesome. It's still awesome. And then we get the little Dolph Ziggler Roman Reigns sequence, which was It was okay. Didn't set the place on fire. Roman Reigns hits the Superman punch on Dolph Ziggler. Del Rio dives in and attempts to steal the pin. Del Rio then absolutely, utterly, and totally fucks taking the Famouser and takes the Famouser like face first instead of the back of his head for some reason. Weird fight going for like a team up move in the corner. It didn't look very good. It just looked like a fucking clusterfuck. The less said about that particular segment, the better. Owens hitting his rolling cannonballs in the corners. That move looks phenomenal. It terrifies me to think of the concept of Kevin Owens flying through the air, arse first, towards my face. It's just not something that I think is particularly appealing. Oh yeah, during the second cannonball, I thought this was great, and I didn't know whether the announcers had caught it. But as he goes into the second cannonball, which I think was on Alberto Del Rio, as he hits, Roman Reigns hits a drive-by on him at the same time, and it looked awesome. You have Roman Reigns comes into the ring, Owens goes for the pop-up powerbomb, Reigns jumps out of it, hits the Superman punch, hits that really, really shitty-looking spear. 3 count. Roman Reigns is now the number 1 contender for Seth Rollins' championship, and they are still making it out that Rollins is a weasel, and that he's not quite ready to be going it alone. So my final thoughts: the stare-off between Reigns and Rollins wasn't bad. Again, Rollins clutching onto the title like it was a child just makes him look weak. The less said about the Divas division, the better. What I will say is my theory on what I think they should be doing with Wyatt, how I think Wyatt's promo should go along. If he's really going to push this idea that he's feeding on the soul of The Undertaker to make himself the new face of fear or whatever, that they do almost like a Ministry of Darkness thing, where they have the Wyatts coming out, and then at the very back of the Wyatts, they don't wrestle, they don't speak, they just occasionally interfere and chokeslam and or tombstone somebody. But you have Kane and The Undertaker, who have been completely brainwashed in some way. To see a great example of that brainwashing, watch how the character Butch interacts with the character of Penguin in Gotham. I'm not going to explain it myself here. Just go and watch those performances. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Have them hardwired that they can't disobey Wyatt, because then maybe later on down the line you can have the Kane and Undertaker getting away from that and fighting back against it. But in the meantime, you can have something as scary as the Ministry of Darkness was back in the day, being led by the crazy cult leader Bray Wyatt, with his 3 monsters in Strowman, Harper, and Rowan, and then the added terrifying mystery and mythos of The Undertaker and Kane. That would be amazing. That is how I would build him from here to WrestleMania 2 years away. Thank you for watching and getting to the end of this video. I have been ForceOfWill. This has been WWFree Raw is Wrong. We are at Team Lioncourt on the old Twitters. Drop us a like and a subscribe down below, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye.